Hey there. So today I want to talk about guilt and complacency during our pursuit of peace and purpose. So there are a lot of different things that can block us from connecting to our purpose in life and from finding inner peace. And so typically I work with people one-on-one to figure out what those blocks are. However, because I can't be with all of you, I created a free guide. I called it Liberate Your Spirit. Sorry, it was backwards. So I'm like, what did I even title this? Liberate Your Spirit. So I have a free PDF guide that will help you identify what your blocks are. Just some examples and some journaling activities so that you can really figure out what's keeping you stuck from connecting to your purpose in life and from finding inner peace. So that will help you. Comment guide below if you are on Instagram, if you're watching on Facebook. Comment guide in the comments. And I will send you my free guide for figuring out what your blocks are, keeping you from connecting to your purpose and finding inner peace. If you are listening to the podcast, then you can find the link in the show notes to get the guide, the free guide. So it's really interesting today. I want to talk specifically about guilt and complacency in terms of blocks from peace and purpose. If you are new here, I just want to say my name is Presh. I'm going to introduce myself briefly. I'm a double certified life coach. I have my Master of Business Administration degree, and I help both highly sensitives and empaths connect to their purpose in life and find inner peace through mindset, mindfulness, stress management, self-discovery, and spiritual growth tools. I always have to count because there are so many tools. I have to make sure I don't exclude any. But I have so many tools to help you connect to peace and purpose in life. And I have really found that really combining the two together is super, super important. And they kind of feed into one another. So when you find inner peace, you're finally able to connect to your purpose in life because you have a calm nervous system. You're able to look at things differently. You just have a different perspective on life. And you're not in survival mode. And so that makes all the difference when it comes to connecting to your purpose and really figuring out what that is. In the same vein, when it comes to connecting to your purpose and vice versa, you really need to have that inner peace and know tools to calm down your nervous system. Also, not only to find it, but also as you're pursuing new big scary things, it's going to be important to know how to calm down your nervous system then too. So they feed into one another. Both are very, very important. And honestly, I think they both really help us live in alignment, live with intention. And just to explain a little bit about what I mean by inner peace, I mean living in the present moment. I mean feeling like you are living the most expressive version of yourself, living authentically, living in your core values. And then when I talk about purpose, I'm talking about feeling fulfilled and just lit up every day, whether it's a career that allows you to feel very purposeful and like you're working towards a mission, or whether it's, having a purpose-driven business. So I help people with all of those things, because everyone's different and purpose looks different for everyone, right? You can even live a more intentional lifestyle if that's what you want. So I want to talk about how guilt and complacency actually blocks us from finding those things. So guilt during your pursuit of peace and purpose can look like thinking I shouldn't want more in life. So say you are currently working in a job and you are grateful for what you have, and you're wondering why you should even want more, right? You might start to feel like you do want more. Like you might start dreaming about having something or working in a career that just makes you feel completely fulfilled and like you're using all of your unique talents. But then the guilt might creep in, and you might feel like, why should I want this? I have enough to get by, to survive. Why should I want more? I should just be grateful for what I have. So I'm here to tell you that you can have both. You can be so incredibly grateful for what you have, And you can also want more and want to work towards more. That is completely okay. And so if you find yourself feeling guilty and pushing away those desires, you just want to start to notice that so that you don't get caught up in complacency, essentially. And so that leads me to the second thing I want to talk about, complacency. So that looks like lying to yourself, saying that you are content with where you are when you really aren't. Sometimes, whether it's before we actually get started in pursuing peace and purpose, it might look like being too complacent to even try to work towards that. We might get scared. We might feel like it's so overwhelming to feel at peace most of the time because we just have never felt that before. That could be a very real feeling. And so complacency keeps us from pursuing those things, right? Even though we do want them deep down. So just pay attention. With guilt and complacency, they can be very scary, or not scary. They can be very sneaky, and they can prevent us from pursuing our purpose in life and from pursuing peace. So those are two blocks that you might have while you are pursuing both of those things. There are so many other blocks, including limiting beliefs and a bunch of other different emotions that come up. Going back to fear, we might even start to pursue something and then get overwhelmed, or just the thought of having something so grand and never having experienced it before can make us shrink back up too, right? And prevent us from moving forward as well. So there are a lot of different blocks that you might experience on your pursuit of peace and purpose. And I do want to say, if you are a highly sensitive person, because I typically work with highly sensitives and empaths, I want to say that this especially applies to you when it comes to guilt and complacency, because we deeply feel emotions, right, and the energies of others. And so it might be difficult to make those decisions to start working towards something bigger and better, right? That guilt might really creep in. But even if you're not an HSP or empath, this is very real for you too. But I just want to say the differences and what I notice working with my one-on-one clients who are highly sensitive and empaths are that a lot of these emotions can feel amplified. And so the problem can feel bigger. The block could feel like it's more of an obstacle compared to maybe somebody else who's non-sensitive or not an empath. So again, comment guide below if you would like my free Liberate Your Spirit PDF guide. It has some activities for you to work through, and it also has a little chart so that you can really identify which block might apply to you right now. Okay. So make sure to comment guide down below, and then once you receive the guide from me via DM, I'll send it via DM. Make sure you comment done on my page as well so that I know that you received it, because I want to make sure that you have it. It's really going to help you if this is something you've been struggling with, okay? All right, so I want to give you a couple of examples of guilt and complacency as well. So in my personal life, I will say exactly the example I gave you earlier applied to me. I was so grateful for the company I worked for, the people I worked with, my job. It was a great job. I was really good at what I did. I was a marketing research analyst, a senior analyst, and I was really good at my job. And it can feel really difficult to pursue other things when you're just full of gratitude and you don't want to mess anything up, essentially, right? But again, I want to say that we can be appreciative and grateful for what we have, but if we have a desire to do something that feels more aligned to us, it is our duty to step into that and work towards that. So it took me a long time to get over the guilt of wanting to pursue my business full time, because I already had something very, very amazing. But what I found was that desire to really help highly sensitives and empaths was so incredibly important to me because I remember when I was I am a highly sensitive person still, but it's just not, it doesn't have power over me like it used to. But I remember not knowing I was a highly sensitive and all of the traits of being highly sensitive and how it would just be such an obstacle for me to get through certain things and how I viewed myself as a highly sensitive and empath just wasn't good because I didn't understand the strengths of being highly sensitive because it's not talked about. And so I really believe in what I do, and I just know so many people need help with that. And at the end of the day, even though I was grateful for the job I had, I knew that it was something that I had to do. It was, it felt like my purpose, and it still feels like my purpose to this day. And we can have multiple purposes, right? So if you are feeling guilty, if you have so much guilt for maybe wanting to change your career or wanting to start a purpose-driven business, don't feel guilty. You have that desire for a reason, and don't push it away. It can be scary. I know it can feel like this big dream, and we can be afraid of failure sometimes, right? I would have moments where my vision and the desire I had for this business was so large, I felt like I could never accomplish it, but I did. And it does take a lot of resilience, and it does actually take a lot of failure to actually succeed because you have to try different things. So all of this is going to come up. All of these can either block us or we can work through them to get to the other side. But it's so worth getting to the other side. I'm going to take a sip of water. All right. So one more example I want to give you. Before I even was able to actually take action myself and really pursue this journey, I used to work with somebody and really admired their work and what they did. So I used to work with somebody who worked their 9 to 5, but actually had a band as well. And so they were very passionate about their band, and they still worked their 9 to 5. And I mean, I don't know how many different venues, and I don't know exactly how well known the band was, but I know it was pretty well known, at least in the local area. And I just thought that was so incredible. You know, everyone has their different journey. Some people want a full-time business, purpose-driven business. Some people want a side hustle that can balance out. They work their 9 to 5 and then they do something that makes them feel fulfilled on the side. It looks different for everyone, but I just remember seeing that, just to give you another example, and just thinking that was super, super inspiring and super amazing that someone could work a 9 to 5 and do something on the side that lit them up. So there are so many different options for you. You just have to really figure out what your blocks are if it's something you want. Now, on the other hand, if you already feel fulfilled, if you're happy as you are, if you don't feel the need to connect to your purpose, then that's okay too. I remember in one of my workshops, I had somebody ask, what if you never find your purpose in life? Which I don't think is possible because I think we have a purpose for a reason, or multiple purposes for a reason. But I wanted her to know that just because you don't feel like have connected to your purpose yet, I don't want anyone to have the fear of never connecting to their purpose, is what I'm saying. Because if you currently feel fulfilled, then that's great. But if you feel like there's something bigger out there for you, something that feels aligned with who you are, and something you want to work towards, but you don't know what that is, or maybe you do know what that is, but you need support to get there, that is what I'm here for. So I'm not here to tell anybody how to live their life. I'm here to support you in what you want. And so that is why I like to talk about purpose and fulfillment. It's never from a place of lack at all. I never want anyone to feel any lack from talking about purpose. So again, comment guide in the comments for my free Liberate Your Spirit guide and workbook. And I'll send that over to you, and then just comment done when you receive it. I hope this helped you today, either inspired you or realized what your blocks are. And if not, again, the workbook should help you as well, the guide. And I will see you next time. Love and care.